Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So welcome to another episode of the Chanel Tweed Week. I recently purchased the entire new Tweed collection and I am going through each and every palette, one video dedicated to one palette. This includes swatches, tutorials, 2 looks with the same palette, and lots of swatch comparisons at the end. Today we will be diving into the number 2 Tweed palette, Tweed Pourpre. This is a beautiful purple soft palette. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As you may know, I have my online beauty consulting service. This is a one-on-one video chat with me where you get my undivided attention. It's one-on-one, so if you've recently picked up any makeup and you need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of step-by-step help, go ahead and book a session today. Okay, let's dive into Tweed Pourpre. This is a very popular one. A lot of you told me that you picked this one up. It gives me soft purple pink dreams. Let's start off by swatching the palette on the back of my hand. This is certainly the softest palette that I've played with so far. Not to give you too many spoilers, but this one here, it feels, or it swatches softer than some of the other ones. I recently did Tweed Pourpre in the Monday video, and that one was more intense. It had, well, it just was a different palette completely. Tweed Pourpre is like a coppery, bronzy, golden goddess type of look. But this one here is softer. And what's interesting is I would say these 3 here all look the same, where it's a very soft, velvety satin. There is no chunky glitter, no glitter particle. This one here, it isn't chunky, but it definitely is more of a lighter color, maybe to add in the inner corner. It's definitely the softest shade. It's meant to look soft. It's interesting because I think it looks a little bit different in the palette than it does on the hand here. I thought maybe this light pink would pop a bit more, but on me it's almost like my skin tone. I don't know what it'll look like on camera, but in person it looks very, very fair. And I think that this is the softest palette. I know that a lot of Chanel clients are older. Like the average Chanel client is like 54, not 24. So I think this palette in particular is very popular for that reason, because if you have more mature eyes, mature eyelids, you probably want something softer and more subtle. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and create 2 looks today, one on each eye, and then in the comments, your homework is to leave a comment and let me know which eye look you prefer. I also have a couple of eyeliners that I think would pair nicely with this. If you're curious about what I'm using for makeup brushes, just go ahead and click in the description box. It's all listed there, and I have done my face base first just for brevity because today's video is all about the tweeds. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into this color here. I would say that this is the darkest color in the palette, and I'm going into a Rephr 28 brush just to pack some of this color onto the brush. It's applying very, very nicely. It's very buttery and it looks very soft. You can tell that it is not a flat matte, but it's very, very subtle. It's velvety and soft, and the satin is incredibly subtle. So if you have mature eyes, or if you are just very averse to anything sparkly, anything glittery, I think this might be a palette you would enjoy. Going into that same color, I'm going into my Rephr 26. This is like a pencil brush, but it's a little bit thicker and wider, so you can use it to go into the crease a little bit. Then using a clean blending brush, this is the Rephr 14, I am just gently blending this out. The reason I'm using one brush to add dark color and a separate brush to blend is that this controls how intense the eyeshadow look gets. I'm going into this light color here. It's actually described as light on the back of the palette. And using one of the sponge tip applicators, I do use these. These are great for packing and transferring color. These are not good for blending, but if all you want to do is transfer some color onto the eye, that's very pretty. It gives me peach, like a light peachy pink. It shows up more on my eyelid than it did on the back of my hand, and I'm very happy for that. This is very pretty. I'm just going back into the first brush that I used. This is the Rephr 28, just to make sure that we can see a little bit of the contrast between the dark and the light here. I would say this look is very easy, very quick, Monday, run out the door, 9 to 5, like you just want to look good, nothing too crazy. Going back into my big pencil brush here, and I'm just going to brush some onto the bottom lashes here. I am noticing a tiny bit of fallout with the darker color. It was more when I was sweeping it under the bottom lashes, a tiny bit. I'll correct it, but nothing wild, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm gonna go ahead and do the eyeliner now too. So the eyeliner that I would recommend for this one is number 36 Prune Intense. It's an intense, dark, plummy color. This is the shade here. I think it just would look really nice with it. I think it just pairs very nicely. However, if you have number 83 Cassis, this would work really nicely as well. I think either one. I think Cassis is more purple, and this one here, 36, is a bit brighter. But either one, and of course, a black eyeliner, a dark brown, that would work. I'm going to draw a thin line on top, and I'm going to just wing it out, just very lightly. Using this Rephr 29 brush, it's this very thick, very dense pencil liner brush, and I applied some of the eyeliner onto this brush here, and I'm just going to draw a very faint line. It's just sort of going to elongate my eye and sort of give like a cat eye effect, but in a very subtle way. All right, let's move on to look number 2. I am going to dip into this color up here. What's interesting with the swatches is I did not expect this bottom color to look a bit more peachy orange. So if you wanted to do a warmer peachy look, you could go into this color here and then the top color up here. And if you wanted to do solely purple, you could just do these two. I just realized this as I was swatching here. So anyway, using this Chanel retractable brush, I'm going into this color here. With more shimmer to it. I think this reminds me more of this light color here. I just think the shimmer is a little bit more pronounced, but again, it's not like super chunky or obvious or obnoxious. It's just a little bit more present. And then I'm using the opposite end here just to blend this out. Using a separate double-ended brush from Chanel, I'm going back into this dark color over here, and I'm using this tapered pencil edge here. This is the dark color. And I'm just placing some out here in the corner and in the crease as well. Back to my fluffy ended side here, I'm just going to blend this out. Now going into this color here, actually no, I'm going to go back into the dark color, the dark plum here, and I'm going to just add a a little bit more everywhere, just to deepen this up a bit. And then I'll go into that other shade. Okay, now I'm ready. So going into this color here with a separate sponge, just going to pack some color on here. And I'm going to place this directly in the center of the eye, sort of to give a halo effect to the look. This way, the dark color still stays out here and inside here. And it's just in the center here that we have a little bit more of this peach color. And you can take your brush from before and just very, very gently tap on the inside and outside here, just to make sure everything is blended. I am seeing fallout here on this side as well. I think it's again because I'm packing more of the dark color. I think it's to be expected. It's not that wild. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up a little bit. I'm going to go into a black liner for this eyeshadow look here. This is number 88, Noir Intense. I can give you a swatch, but it's really just a black waterproof liner. I'm sure you have one at home, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to be very generous with this eye here because this one is a bit darker, a bit more intense. So apply as much as you're comfortable with. For the mascara for both eyes, I'm going into my new Chanel Allure mascara in the gorgeous little click top here. So for the blush, I just went ahead and used Les Chaînes de Chanel. This was a holiday blush from a few years ago. And I just think that this hue, it's like purple with like rose gold. And I just think it goes really nicely with the purple tweed palette. And then for the lip, I'm using the Rouge Allure Laque number 64 Exigence. It's pink with like a hint of purple, but not too much. It's not too pink. It's just like a really nice shade. And I just think it goes with both of the eyeshadow looks. So that is the completed look. Now go ahead and vote in the comments. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer look number 1 or look number 2? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let's go ahead and do some swatch comparisons of this palette here because I imagine that many of you have similar palettes. So I think the first one we need to swatch is the one that just came out. Number 58, Intensity. This is one that I picked up a few weeks ago and I love this one so much. I love purple. So let's go ahead and swatch this one just underneath the tweed. So Intensity has more mattes in it, and I think Intensity also leaves room to go even deeper and darker because the darkest matte in Intensity is much more pronounced than the darkest color in the purple tweed palette. That's just my opinion. But I think if you like one, you would like the other. Obviously in Intensity, we also have this gold color, which we do not have in the number 2 Tweed Pourpre. I am very happy to own both because there maybe are some similarities, like with the top 2 shades from Intensity. You could see some first cousins in Tweed Pourpre, but not that much, I would say personally, in my opinion. Then let's swatch Warm Memories. This was, I think, spring 2-3 years ago, this one here. Let's swatch this one. The lighter colors from Warm Memories and Intensity, you can see some connection here, here, and here. Otherwise, Warm Memories, I feel like these ones here, you can see that there's a connection with this and with this. I don't think that they're perfect dupes. I mean, they're very close. You know, they're dark, sort of matte, purpley plum colors. That is true, but I don't think this is Warm Memories. This is the new one. You can see that they do like pairing purple with peach because it's there. It's almost like this is a much more muted version of Warm Memories. How interesting. It hadn't occurred to me how much they enjoy pairing purple colors with pink and peach. Now that I'm seeing it all swatched, I can see it very clearly. These are the palettes that I think look closest to each other. If you own one of these, you probably would enjoy the other. I am very happy with the Tweed Pourpre that I picked up, but if you're wondering if you want to get intensity or Tweed Pourpre, you probably don't need both. I mean, if you want to, listen, you are a grown woman, you know what you want, you know what you need. Tweed is going to be softer and more subtle. That's obvious right off the bat. I think if you're looking for more intense, if you want to recreate the 90s like goth smoky look, you're going to have a bit more success with intensity. You can do it with Tweed Pourpre, but you're going to have to go into the darker color more, maybe a bit more liner. I mean, it depends. Do you want to go darker than this? But as I stated at the beginning of the video, this I think is more for the client who wants a softer look. If you want softer shades, if you don't want your eyeshadow to go like, oh my god, she's wearing eyeshadow, this is more your palette, this is more your style. So that is my opinion, that is my take on number 2, Tweed Pourpre. Am I happy to own all 3 of these eyeshadow palettes? Yes, I'm very happy. I'm very content. I love the tweeds. I think it looks gorgeous. I think it looks really pretty in the palette. I think it looks very pretty on the eyes. I think this is the softest palette. I think if you're intimidated by purple shadows, if you're kind of scared it's going to be too intense, get this one because it will not be too intense. It's very user-friendly. I think the shadows all perform very nicely. I was really pleasantly surprised with this one here because on the eye, I see it a lot more than on the back of my hand. On the back of my hand, it kind of disappears, but applying it here just sort of brightens up the whole eye. I'm very happy with this collection. I'm very happy with this whole series. We've got 2 more Tweed palettes coming up. If you're not subscribed yet, I highly encourage you to do so and make sure you have your notification bell on because that really does make a difference because I post a lot of Chanel content, a lot of tweeds. I also reuse a lot of my collection, so I will help you enormously. Like I really do because I create so many different tutorials and looks that it really helps you get inspiration at home on how to use up what you already own. So make sure you're subscribed. I hope you enjoyed this installment. I know many of you picked up this palette or are waiting for it to arrive in the mail. This was one of the ones, I think this was the top voted one, but there are 2 more Tweed palettes to come. That means there are 4 more eyeshadow looks to come. I like creating 2 looks with one palette just to show you that you can create multiple looks. And also, just because there are 4 colors in the palette does not mean you need to use all 4 at once. You can, but you don't have to. You can create something very simple, very sweet with just 2 colors. But anyway, on that note, that is all I have for you guys for today. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.